Welcome to This Explainer. I am so pumped you're here. Today, we're not just taking a trip down memory lane. We're zeroing in on that sweet spot where game design meets absolute player agency. We are officially counting down the top 10 most satisfying moments in gaming.
So let's dive right into it. What actually makes a moment stick with us for years? We're going to kick off our top 10 countdown and figure out exactly why interactive media delivers these insane psychological payoffs. Because it's not just about watching a story unfold, right? It's about being the one pulling the strings.
Level 1. Survival and Discovery.
Kicking off our top 10 list at number 10, we've got taken down a tall neck for the very first time in Horizon Zero Dawn. Man, there is just something ridiculously satisfying about spotting one of those towering mechanical giraffes out in the wild, sneaking past a bunch of hostile machines, and literally climbing up its body piece by piece to finally override it. And when you do, the music swells, and you suddenly feel 10 feet taller. The fog on your map peels back like a curtain. It's not just a map unlock. It's a massive victory lap with robot wildlife.
Coming in hot at number 9, escaping that brutal village siege in Resident Evil 4. You know the one. That opening fight is absolute, unfiltered chaos. You're juggling screaming villagers, actual chainsaws, and total panic over your ammo management. Surviving just long enough to finally hear that church bell ring, and then watching the Ganados just casually wander off, it delivers an unmatched hit of pure relief and triumph. It is, hands down, one of the greatest "I can't believe I survived that" moments in gaming history.
Level 2. Pure Gameplay Mastery. At number 8, we have the Ashtray Maze from Control. This is basically what happens when a level designer chugs 3 espressos and decides to become a rock concert wizard. The Ashtray Maze takes everything you've learned to do in the game and funnels it into one glorious supernatural rampage. The shifting environments, the heavy music, the seamless combat flow, it all clicks into one of the coolest power trips in modern gaming. You don't even feel like you're playing a level anymore. You feel like you're headlining reality itself. Number 7 takes us back, way back. It's beating Mike Tyson in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Look, for a whole generation of players, this wasn't just a boss fight. It was a brutal rite of passage. Tyson is punishingly fast and completely built to humble you. So, finally memorizing those patterns, surviving his opening barrage, and landing that very last punch, it feels exactly like climbing Everest in boxing gloves. It is old-school satisfaction in its purest, most merciless form.
Level 3. Preparation and Payoff.
Taking the number 6 spot is a late-game character arc completion in Mass Effect 3. Without getting too spoiler-heavy for anyone who hasn't experienced it, this particular moment lands like a freight train made entirely of heartbreak and payoff. And it all comes down to 4 words. Had to be me. This devastating line is deeply satisfying, not because it's cheerful, obviously, but precisely because it completes a massive, long-term journey so perfectly. It's the kind of scene that leaves you just staring blankly at your screen. It is the exact moment that makes the entire trilogy feel completely worth the massive investment of your time and emotion.
Number 5 brings us to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Specifically, the immense satisfaction and absolute awe of finally returning to Hyrule Castle. The really crucial point here is the contrast. Early on, Hyrule Castle feels like a place you are absolutely not supposed to be anywhere near. You are explicitly taught to fear it. But marching back in 80 hours later, when you're loaded up with extra hearts, maxed out armor, absurd cooked meals, and a trunk full of vengeance, it completely flips the script. Strolling through those gates after spending the whole game getting stronger is immensely satisfying, because the world taught you to run away first. Now you are the problem.
At number 4, we've got what might be the greatest payoff mission ever designed, finishing the suicide mission in Mass Effect 2 with everyone alive.
The beauty of this is that the game doesn't just hand you a victory screen. No, it demands precise execution. Every single loyalty mission, every ship upgrade, every tactical decision you made hours ago suddenly matters. Pulling off that final push perfectly and bringing the whole squad home feels absolutely incredible because the game actually makes you earn it. It essentially asks you, hey, were you paying attention this whole time? And passing that test? Unbeatable.
Level 4. Consequences and Awe.
Breaking into our top 3, it's the unforgettable collapse of the first Colossus in Shadow of the Colossus. The very first time you scale one of those literal giants, stab its weak point, and feel the entire mountain of a monster collapse beneath you, wow. It is unforgettable. But it also creates this really strange emotional contradiction. It perfectly blends triumph, awe, and a lingering sense of guilt that almost no other game even attempts to capture. You just overcame something impossible, but it leaves a real bruise on your victory. That emotional friction is exactly what makes it hit so incredibly hard.
Coming in at number 2 is the final ride in Red Dead Redemption 2. This is one of those rare moments where gameplay, story, music, and character arc all lock together with just terrifying precision. By the time you mount up for this ride, the emotional stakes are already sky high.
What makes this sequence so wildly satisfying is its crushing emotional weight. It's a meditation on regret, loyalty, redemption, and the last scraps of a dying world. It feels like the complete, devastating payoff to everything the game has been methodically building toward for dozens of hours. It's deeply satisfying in the very specific, melancholic way that only a truly masterful ending can be.
Bonus stage, honorable mentions.
Before we hit number 1, let's look at some iconic feats that narrowly missed the top spots but are absolute masterclasses in interactive design. The intense, gravity-defying train sequence in Uncharted 2. The chaotic, visceral beach storming in Call of Duty 2, the brilliantly absurd ending of Portal 2, the sheer, sweaty-palmed relief of finally defeating a Valkyrie in God of War, the blinding light of stepping out of Vault 101 in Fallout 3, and of course, the mind-bending "Would you kindly" reveal in BioShock. Every single one of these is legendary.
Level 5, the ultimate ride. So, after all the epic battles, complex mechanics, and heartbreaking arcs we've broken down in this explainer, you might be wondering, what could possibly take the number 1 spot on a top 10 list like this? Seriously, what beats a massive screen-filling boss fight or a totally mind-blowing cutscene twist?
Well, the number 1 most satisfying moment in gaming is the very first time you step foot into Mexico in the original Red Dead Redemption.
A lot of games have huge, explosive moments, but very few have a moment that feels like the horizon itself is physically opening up for you. After hours of grinding through the grit, the dust, the constant gunfights, and the hard travel, crossing that border as the song Far Away fades in, it's pure magic. It is something stranger and honestly better than a boss kill. The game suddenly becomes bigger, lonelier, and profoundly more beautiful all at once. It's a pure reward for the road you've already traveled and a promise that there is still so much more waiting beyond the ridge. Which leaves us with one final, provocative thought to chew on. In what other medium is the destination so completely and profoundly earned by the traveler?